Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. We now have the privilege of having our chief guest to hear his unique insights. May I please request on stage Alok Mittal, TiE Delhi-NCR, and request him to welcome Ms. Krishnan with a bouquet. I would also request Mr. Krishnan to please join us on stage. I would also like to invite Mr. Arvind Kumar, Director General, STPI, to also join us on stage. Secretary Sir, it's a huge honor for us that you could make the time and join us. Thank you so much. Could I now invite Alok to deliver a welcome address, please?
Secretary Sir, Mr. Krishnan, my very, very warm welcome to you. Many of us here in the TiE family have relished our long-standing relationship with MeitY, with STPI, and it is a privilege to have you here with all of us. As you're aware, there is also a program we are running right now with STPI on the Leap Ahead. That cohort has been progressing well. We will look forward to your continuous guidance and support as we do our bit to develop the entrepreneurial community in Delhi-NCR. Thank you, sir.
Could we have the video to be played once? STPI is releasing the next edition series of Knowledge Report on exploring the DeepTech landscape, innovation, challenge, and opportunities. But before I request our dignitaries to really unveil the report, I would also like to invite on stage Praneet Singhal, Director, One Lettuce, and Subodh Sacham, Director, Innovation and Startups, STPI, to also join us on stage. Could I also request the dignitaries now to officially unveil the report for us? Thank you to all our dignitaries. STPI is set to launch the 7th edition of Challenge Program CHUNAUTI 7.0 under NGIS. The theme of this challenge program is to try and empower women entrepreneurs to create India's innovation landscape. Without wasting any more time, I would now like to request the Secretary to launch the challenge program. Now could I request the Secretary to launch the challenge program, and could we have a huge round of applause, please? The challenge program now officially launched. Could I also take this opportunity to request our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary MeitY, to deliver a keynote address. Please, sir.
Good evening to all of you. It's really a pleasure to be present here with you on International Women's Day, the 8th of March, in an event which fittingly celebrates innovation and entrepreneurship. Let me at the outset thank both STPI and TiEcon, the NCR area, for putting together this event and bringing in a large number of entrepreneurs, large number of innovators who today are fueling the growth of India's economy. This morning, I was at another very, very energetic event, the first National Creators Awards, which were presented by the Honorable Prime Minister to about 23 odd creators, content creators on various types of social media. Many of them are no less innovative and no less entrepreneurial than many of you who are present here on this occasion. And perhaps some of you overlap. There are two sets in a Venn diagram which overlap. This is what India's new economy is all about. These are the opportunities that are getting created across a range of technologies, a range of spaces. This is also a space which is becoming more and more participative. People from different walks of life, different parts of the country have suddenly found technology so empowering, and they have enabled it, and they have used the enabling power of technology literally to overcome many odds, overcome many handicaps, to actually deliver value both for themselves in terms of the value that they can bring to their own lives, but also to society at large and to the economy at large. The Prime Minister did remark that it is the talent which is available in the country which is the greatest promise. Today, India is the fastest growing large economy in the world and has the greatest potential for growth simply because of the demographic dividend we possess today. And what events of this nature do is to help channelize that demographic dividend, help to channelize that talent into very, very constructive enterprise, which then enables people who were formerly merely job seekers to actually become job providers. And that is the manner in which entrepreneurship works. And oftentimes, we are all people who sometimes lose their way, sometimes are misguided in some ways, but can always come back to find the right path. reinventing oneself is as important as any other phase. As I came to this event today, my driver was informed saying, this is the way that you need to take. And I was likening that to the path that an innovator or an entrepreneur takes. He depends on a mentor in certain cases and assumes that the mentor will guide him in the path that he needs to go. Then suddenly he finds that the way is lost. How many of them then make the effort, figure out a way of staying the entire difficult path and making sure that they come back and succeed again? And I think that is truly a message that many of you convey. Entrepreneurship or success in this area doesn't come easy. There are struggles. You try many times. People misguide you. You get lost somewhere. When you actually need help or assistance, you don't find it. But eventually, you succeed because you persevere, you persist, and you keep at what you need to do. And I think that becomes a very key element of what we try to do. The other aspect that I was thinking about, say from 30 years ago or a generation ago, is that this is a time when second chances are available. This is a time when social safety nets are available. This is a time when family support is available, when networks are available to ensure that even if there are one or two failures, you can always succeed. It's very interesting when you are evaluating proposals which come from various startups, innovators and others, and they look at all the money that they have down in the list, there'll be this column of so much came from friends and family, right? That is a form of support. That is a way in which you bootstrap yourself. That is a way in which you come up. Subsequently, it's a whole exercise of trying to see that the whole enterprise is pushed forward. There is a social recognition today that there is economic value in pushing it in that direction. There is a recognition today that businesses, enterprises should be allowed to fail if they fail, but it's not the entrepreneur who is to be blamed. The entrepreneur deserves one more chance, deserves many more opportunities to succeed. That being the social milieu, that being the social opportunity which is present, that being the way that even government policy operates, whether it is in the context of the kind of support, grant-based support, which various government programs offer new entrepreneurs, or in the way that the bankruptcy code today is structured, in order to take away the risk of being an entrepreneur, the individual risk of being an entrepreneur, society encourages you to take this path because there's societal and economic value in this being done. And that is an area where many of you need to actually take advantage of the environment, take advantage of the huge potential for growth, take advantage of possibly 2 or 3 decades of continuous growth that a country like India is bound to see, and take advantage of that. And why are we bound to see it? Because we are the one large economy which has population of enough young people who, with sufficient support, sufficient education, sufficient human development, can certainly sort of move and propel the economy, and there will be multiple opportunities that you can take up. That is the confidence with which we need to approach this task, and we need to work towards it. And where does the government's role come in all of this? The government's role basically comes up in making sure that those segments of the population which were hitherto excluded from becoming entrepreneurs, which hitherto had more odds than most others to become entrepreneurs or innovators, are supported in doing that. And in that respect, I'm extremely happy that today we are also launching the 7th round of CHUNAUTI, which is specifically targeted to women, because I think having more women entrepreneurs participating in this entire exercise, having them as part of the economy is very, very critical. Let's be absolutely clear, what we have seen in the last 20 years or so is the work participation rate of women in the formal sector or even in the informal sector has fallen. Unfortunately, our economic statistics today do not measure the contribution that women make to the household sector of within domestic work, which is extremely significant and large. But even, and as a result, what we are really looking to measure is where their participation is in work outside the home. Today's context is such that in many economies and in many states of the country, the participation rate of women is dropping. I come from a state where that particular rate is fairly high amongst all Indian states, but still way below what it needs to be across when you compare globally. And if we have to look for rapid growth over these next 20 to 30 years, they, especially women, need to be far more active economic players in the formal economy, in the economy that directly contributes to the sector outside the home. And then that also has an obvious implication that somebody has to take up the slack at home. So I think the measure for, or what the men need to do is also fairly clear. So I think that balance needs to be restored to make sure that there is greater participation, they contribute more to growth, and they contribute to the economy in a way that it becomes far more significant. I learned from the TiEcon region executives who came and met me that today TiEcon is the largest agglomeration of entrepreneurs and mentors and the most active body in India. I congratulate this body, and I think you need to spread this message farther and wider across the country. We need to take it as the capital of India. We need to take it to more remote destinations. My instructions to my ministry, both to the MeitY Startup Hub and to STPI, both of whom lead many of the initiatives on entrepreneurship development within the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, has been to see that we support as many startups across the country as we can. We do more events combined with, regardless of who has seeded the startup, making sure that we achieve a critical mass. Because one of the things that we learn from the great startup or great entrepreneurial locations across the world, and you know, TiE also originated in the Silicon Valley. So whether you take the Silicon Valley or the area around Boston, or today you take the area around Bangalore and so on, one of the things that is important is critical mass. You need a critical mass of entrepreneurs. You need a critical mass of talented people who can work in the startups. You need a critical mass of venture capitalists and angel investors and others who are willing to invest in this. Each one of them needs to find their time worthwhile. And building that critical mass in more and more centers across the country is something that we can certainly do. I have personally, in my visits across the country to different locations like Guwahati and like Calcutta and various other locations, have found that there are a large number of budding entrepreneurs who are willing to go forward, who are willing to take the risk and are just looking for opportunities. And I think between TiE, STPI, and all the other ventures, if we create this network, if we enable more mentors to emerge, and we permit and we sort of aggregate all the startups in that area, and try to take more and more venture capitalists into the area so that they can identify and find good businesses in which to make their investment. We can contribute to broad-basing this and democratizing this movement across the country and give more and more opportunities to more and more excluded sections to take the entrepreneurial route to not only create wealth for themselves, but also create a large number of jobs and grow the economy in the respective areas that they come from. Let me once again thank TiEcon region for having invited me on this occasion, and congratulate you and congratulate STPI on all the initiatives that you have taken. STPI itself is another of those agencies which is rediscovering a mission, which is engaging itself in spaces that can make a significant difference to the economy from, I mean, it's good to see that an organization doesn't rest on laurels of what was just achieved 2 or 3 decades ago, but moves on to try and contribute and stay relevant in newer areas. And that is a continued effort that the ministry will encourage them to take. And clearly, with all your support, we can actually display greater creativity and take India's economy and India's stature in the world to greater and greater heights. Thank you very much for having me this evening. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir, for those kind words. We'll just request our distinguished guests to stay on stage with us for a few more moments, because I will request Geetika to once again come on stage and offer a small token of appreciation from the TiE team for our distinguished guests. Thank you, Geetika. Could we request the guests to come on stage for a photo opportunity together, please? Thank you, Krishnan sir, once again for making the time and also offering those words of encouragement and support to everyone present here. Thank you so much once again. Could we have a huge round of applause for our chief guest once again, please?